I'm Jen, product manager on Rainbow Six Siege, and we are stoked to be here with a stoked crowd because it's amazing. The hype in this room is awesome. I'm joined by my fellow panelists. I have Alex, brand director, Leroy, lead multiplayer game designer, and Jalal, Lord Jalal, technical architect. And we're here today to talk about year 2. So you've seen a little bit in the video right there, but we will be talking a lot more in depth about it. We'll talk about the key elements we want to tackle and a huge focus this year on health with hit registration and matchmaking improvements and more, which we will discuss in a few minutes. So first of all, we want to show you a word cloud to show you where we're headed in year 2. These are not on a timeline because we wanted to show you everything we want to bring with year 2 and beyond in terms of improvement. And first of all, we want to talk, of course, about players who are so central to the game at the beginning of it all. So one of the questions that people are always wondering about is our active player count. And we have a graph right now to show where we're at. We don't have numbers to disclose, but we're really excited about where we are right now with Rainbow Six. I can actually say that this weekend we've once again just wait. That this weekend we have once again broken all of the records we've ever broken. So we never had that many players. It's insane. Season 3 also brought something special, Jalal. I just want to touch upon it one last time.
Yes.
But what was the special thing about Season 3, do you think?
I guess it's anti-cheat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Battle Eye was like a big release for us, and it really helped improve the health of the game. I think it was one of the best investments we made on the technical side on last year.
Yes, and this goes perfectly into our next segment. We're going to be discussing a little bit, let's go back to our word cloud to see what's the main focus we want to go to right now, and it is content. Because another year of Rainbow is, of course, another year of content. So right now, let's take a look at our timeline. Let's talk a little bit about our roadmap for year 2. Most of it you know, but you may notice a little surprise at the end with another 6 Invitational coming here.
Book your flights right now.
Yeah, this time they can really plan in advance to come in the cold. So yeah, we're going to have, once again, 4 seasons, of course, which come with 8 new operators throughout the whole year, 4 new free maps that's accessible to everybody. We're not changing the recipe for this. We feel it's the right thing. We're going to bring some mid-season reinforcements. So yeah, we just keep that formula that we enjoy. And I know that some of you saw in the video that we started for the intro, we were talking about the loot box, and I know, Leroy, you want to discuss it a little bit more.
Just wanted to rephrase what Xavier said, that this is something that we really wanted for players to thank them for their playing time, because we felt that we were lack of a reward in this sense. And again, we want to be super clear and upfront that it will be, of course, obviously only cosmetic items that you will find in this.
100%. Yeah.
Since the beginning, I think it was clear that for us we will always split gameplay content versus cosmetic content.
Yeah, the foundations of the game when it comes to the seasons, but as well how we approach monetization and the content has always been like, there's never going to be content behind paywall, so everything has to be grindable. There's no gameplay element that you cannot get by sort of investing your playtime. The second aspect for us is we value playtime like above anything else, meaning that even if you don't spend an extra dime on the game, just the fact that you are playing, for us, it has value. It has value because you're part of the system, you're part of our matchmaking, and you're also part of a community which you are contributing to. So I think it's super important. We absolutely want to keep that philosophy of keeping and rewarding players for the playtime. I think Lootbox is an extremely good example of pushing and keeping that philosophy alive for you too.
And let's take a look at the 4 destinations which we will be visiting this year. I know it's already been announced, but maybe let's take a look at our roadmap once again, because now we want to discuss a little bit about the Pro League. How did you decide how do we decide about the Pro League pacing throughout the year?
more than the pacing, I think to me, like the striking point coming this year is the fact that we are trying to give as much stability and visibility on the Pro League. When we did year one, we announced every season one after the other, right? We were sort of testing waters. How is the formula working? Is that cool to tie in the Pro League finals or the LAN events with the reveal of the new content? What we've seen across the whole year one is actually it is working. Like every season final gets more exciting. Teams are getting better at the game. Obviously, viewership is growing. So when approaching year two, the main decision was like, hey, we need to announce a full year of competition, right? So the team can actually practice. The team can actually invest. They know they have that stability for the whole year to come. So it's super cool to be now able to announce the full year of competition. So that's for me is the one big aspect of year two competition.
Yes, I'm sure it means a lot for all the players and all the teams that invest energy in this. And even for the viewers, you can project yourself throughout the year. Everything seems more meaningful suddenly.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the program right now, which we have for year two. So Alex, we noticed PC as the lead platform for year two. Why is that? Let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, true. The two big elements that we touched upon in the video, one is obviously that we are opening the program to the 3 platforms now, so every platform has an entry point into the competition. The second aspect, and the one that's maybe the most visible, is the fact that we're focusing and putting a lot of efforts on the PC. The idea by pushing and putting some focus here is like, how do we make that league grow? How do we take Rainbow Six Pro League and competition to the next level? And we all felt that focusing on one platform, putting all our collective efforts with the UB ESL and the players is the way to go. So putting all that energy here will just translate into bigger events, bigger prize money and changes.
And how is it going to be a better, bigger program?
First, because we are focusing on one platform, it becomes easier in the whole scheduling of the program, meaning that all matches starting next season will be broadcasted because we have a limited number of teams to actually expose and broadcast and follow. So it's going to become much more visible and clearer. Also, one of the aspects for the viewer, I think, by going with one platform is there's now one champion and not, one champion per platform. So I think we're sort of clarifying the narrative behind the league. And obviously, because we are focusing, that means that prize money is getting bigger. We can invite more teams at each event. So I think the competition overall is getting a better and bigger scope. About the prize money aspect, I want to make clear that, again, back to that stability sort of ambition we're having for year two, those pro teams and players, they are dedicating so much time, investing so much time on the game, that having that sort of bigger prize money is clearly a message to them that we want to support them as much as we can all through the year.
And I knew that you had a good news for a particular community that fared quite well this weekend.
Yeah, I'm just going to say obrigado. Yeah, I'm super excited to actually officially announce that Brazil is going to be the 3rd region joining the PC Pro League and PC program as of the next season, meaning that now we're going to be having North American, European, and Latin American teams joining the Pro League. It's extremely exciting.
Go back to our word cloud to talk about our priorities for year two. So the next one, of course, is the biggest priority of year two, besides, of course, the content which we're going to release, and it is health. And right now, we will deep dive into it. You can see some quite important topics there on the screen: connectivity, hit registration, performance, technical public test servers. But before we get into them, let's talk a bit about how our vision evolved since the launch of the game in terms of addressing health.
So you have to know that we come from a team and a lot of people have a lot of experience with single player games. And it's usually like we decide what we do tech-wise prior to shipping the game. And we provide all the necessary tools for the designer to build the game. And this is pretty much how we go about building the tech for the game. and then after the game ships, we move on to something else. But what's happening here with Rainbow Six is that we have like a big base of players that need a good quality game to be maintained, to be working properly. And for us, that has shifted our priorities to pretty much follow up with the players and have the players also drive what we invest on technically. So, with that also, like we need to make the game evolve technically. So we need to make updates and follow up whatever is happening with that. And what we're planning for year 2 is to start shipping most of our technical improvements in the second batch of a given season. And
With the mid-season reinforcements
yes,
instead
yes,
of with the season.
yes.
And
So
why is that?
why is that? Because usually we have, when we ship any tech change with a season, there's a lot of content coming in, there's a lot of also tech stuff changing, and if we encounter any problem, becomes a bit difficult to know what exactly happened and to really kind of pinpoint the problem. So with releasing any technical improvement with the second patch, we are pretty much gonna have to focus on all the changes that we did and be able to see if it really made the positive impact we were hoping for. So yeah.
So that's the plan.
Yes, that's the plan.
Let's talk a little bit more. So let's start with a big topic which we want to address during year 2. It is connectivity.
Yes.
And there's like 3 main things we want to improve with it. So the first one was just having less connectivity errors.
Yes.
So how are we going to do that, Jalal?
So,
Tell us your plan.
Hey, yeah, Jalal, come on. Come on, man, everyone's watching.
Well, one of our focus for next year is moving to a pure client-server model. So some of the components of our games are still peer-to-peer. The main gameplay components are actually client-server.
So that's dedicated servers.
Dedicated servers, like pretty much when people play. But systems like party invites, voice chat, and Teams previously, how they were handled, were peer-to-peer. And peer-to-peer usually adds a lot of complexity in our code and also in how the connectivity is handled because like there's a lot of variables when you want to connect 2 players together. Like you have their setup coming into factoring into like the quality of connection. But connection with the server is usually like very clean and like easier to handle. So our plan is pretty much to focus on like phasing out all peer-to-peer components and having a pure client-server model to weed out most of the problems, connectivity issues that people are having, like sending an invite doesn't work, you get disconnected when like you join a team or something like that.
So that just means a more stable connectivity.
Yes.
And it will also bring more security, right?
Yes. Well, currently you still see the IPs of the players that are on your team, and ideally, like you would see only the IP of the server. And with moving to this client server model, we're gonna just like remove all IPs of any other player coming into a session and playing.
So that means less likely also for like DDoS
attacks,
and
yeah,
stuff like that.
course.
Yeah. And
Backend works. Backend's the collection of all our services, matchmaking and news system and whatever. So all of those are in a monolithic system. So they pretty much live within the same infrastructure. And when something happens to a system that is secondary, it might impact all the primary systems. Like we don't want the news service to impact matchmaking.
yeah, so like if a news would have an issue, it would potentially affect the matchmaking.
Yes.
So now you want to...
We want to like divide all of those systems, and we call that moving to a microservice-based infrastructure, so or architecture. So with that, we're pretty much gonna divide all of our services in pieces that can move independently. We can update them independently, and we can fix them independently, and they will have less impact between each other. And the idea is to have less downtime overall when doing that.
So we're gonna have less downtime, like for Rainbow Six, for like server maintenance.
Yes,
Well, not
yes.
server maintenance, but for like maintenance of our service and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yes,
So
yes.
more uptime.
More uptime overall.
Yes. And
Like a lot of players actually touch upon, and we spent actually last year working a lot on the tools. So when we shipped, we were lacking visibility on whatever was happening live, and we developed a lot of tools to pretty much just follow up with issues and have a clear visibility on what exactly is adding latency into the game, what exactly is inherent to how we handle replication, and what is bugs that gets introduced like from patch to patch. We developed like a system where we have high-speed cameras, like taking captures of a set of screens to see exactly where the latency comes from. So, and now that we actually have enough data to know what we're gonna do, so within like this year, we're gonna release a series of patches that are going to focus mainly on reducing all the processing latency that we have within the game. So let's say there's two types of latency. There's latency that is inherent mainly to your quality of connection.
so like
that's
your internet provider or
Yes,
whatever
yes,
your setup
yes.
is. Yeah.
And there is everything that's our processing time, like how the game by itself is going to process your inputs and send them to the server, and then how the server is going to process inputs from all the players and send them back to all the other players. So we're going to focus on those processing time to reduce them by a good amount, and it's going to be like our main focus within the next patches.
So that's what we're going to be working on during year 2.
Yes.
And
yes.
you're pretty confident that. Do you have any estimation that you want to?
Well, it's gonna impact mostly, not mostly, but it's gonna impact more importantly LAN games, because LAN games, this is where usually like latency on the network is close to 0 or 1, like it's really small, but it's also gonna have an impact on the overall quality of the game for all the players.
So everyone basically is going to probably see an improvement.
Yes, yes, yes.
That is good. That is good. To keep improving it. What it brings to us is that if we keep improving performance, then we can do even more in our game. For example, the new operator Jackal, which is coming, his gameplay tech of his unique gadget would not have been possible like a year ago. So we're always pushing to bring more richness into the game and keep pushing the boundaries. So we're going to keep doing that, of course. And finally, technical public test servers. I know the community really wanted test servers. We're going to start with a technical way, of course. So the main focus will be health and not gameplay. We want to really push, the stability, testing, every deployment we do to make sure that the game is stable, healthy, good. And you never know later on what's going to happen. We'll see. We always iterate, so we will even iterate on the technical public test servers.
Yes.
For me, those are the two most concrete things that the players will notice. When we're talking about matchmaking hit rates, it's something that happens a little bit under the hood, but by putting the technical test servers, as well as the mid-season reinforcement, that's going to be the moment where we push the technical features and new features. You should see at every mid-season like some much cleaner tech that gets into the game, which will improve by a lot the game.
Yeah, and the important thing is always to remember that we're working on like the ground of the basis of our technology for the game, and trying to make it better for everyone, and that it's going to come through an iterative process that with each patch we're going to push new things, we're going to test new things, and we'll have the players' feedback to guide us in whatever we do.
And talking about tests, I remember when we started that discussion before in the studio, like Jalal, you mentioned like how today we are setting different milestones for tests before we go live, and how the public test, technical test is going to be adding an extra milestone there.
So currently we do a lot of tests. So we have a huge team of testers in Montreal helping us like with every kind of changes that we do in the game, they go through all operators, they go through all of the systems that we have in the game, they test them. Before releasing a season, we go to a broader phase of testing, where we actually have players through North America, usually like playing our game and giving us feedback on how it works. But then we go directly live. So the pool of external testing is like 200 to 300 players testing our game. And then we go directly live with our huge bases of players. And we have this huge gap in between that we don't know exactly what we have. So in this gap, we want to fill this gap with the public technical test servers.
From there, you'll see what happens when players are going to be able to queue now. So maybe Leroy, you can talk a bit
the
about
code
it.
name matchmaking everywhere, so it pretty much say everything in the name. So the idea is that you see you launch the matchmaking, and while you're matchmaking, searching for player and for team, but you can go to anywhere in the game, to the menu, change your loadout, adapt it. We all had those games when you
Yes,
start the
that
rank.
deserves some applause here.
And yes, it's at the very late second that you will have a notification, and that you will be put in the game. And
Yeah, I mean, everyone who plays and puts enough hours on that game knows exactly how that new feature is going to make their life much comfortable, and being able to again change loadouts and go everywhere and manipulate the whole game while you're searching for a team. It's really cool.
And you're going to be able to stay in your party as well. Like, no need to say, wait a minute, guys, I need to change my little attachment. I'll be right back. So now you can stay together. And another big thing coming to matchmaking, which wasn't touched as much upon in the video, is that we're bringing one-step matchmaking. And it's going to do a lot of improvements. So first of all, faster matchmaking. Maybe Jalal, you can explain how.
Yes, well, how matchmaking works currently is that it's a two-step matchmaking. So we have the first step where we're actually just looking for a team. So we take the pool of all players that are in the matchmaking at a given time, and we iterate through them to match them into a team. Then once we have a couple of teams that were made up, we match them again in a second pass to get into a game. So we have the first step where we actually spend time just looking for a team. Then the second step where we spend time also looking for a game. And with one-step matchmaking, we're just moving the team to actually the server. So we actually cut in one of our peer-to-peer sessions that we were talking about earlier. And we are handling the team in the server pretty much. So what happens is that you just go into matchmaking, we have this huge pool of players, and we just match them all together in one go, inform the teams and put them in a game directly. So that's going to improve overall the speed of matchmaking.
But also the quality, right?
The quality also. The quality, so we can put more thought into how we can bundle the teams and the players together within the team, since now we have a bigger pool of players where we can actually do the decision and think about how best to split the teams and such.
So we can expect better matchup quality, fairer, more chances to.
Yes.
Well, it will be close matches, basically.
And reliability as well. I mean, right, the whole loop becomes much simpler, so more solid as well, right?
So we're cutting one phase that we had to handle on our client, and we had a lot of interaction actually between the client and the server to make up the team and have the team move to a game. So now we're removing a lot of code, so less code, less bugs usually.
So a more stable.
Less work. Nice.
No, not necessarily. Not
I see where
necessarily.
you're going,
Not
man.
necessarily. Not necessarily.
So it means a more stable connectivity, basically, throughout matchmaking in general and in the game. So it's a big connectivity push, which also is going to impact matchmaking.
Yes.
And can you commit on any dates, Jalal?
Well,
I'm sure it's what people are wondering right now.
Yes.
So we're saying year 2. How?
So the mid-season patch for the year 2 season 1 is we're gonna push the one-step matchmaking and.
So pretty much in a month and
Yeah,
a
yeah.
half once we start the
Yes,
season.
yes. So we're gonna probably push PC first, just to make sure that everything works. Because, as I said yesterday, we have more flexibility on PC. We can roll back quite easily if there is a big issue, and we're gonna try to have that in this mid-season patch.
Yes.
Cool.
And now let's recap our year two priorities. We're